Pipe.
Guys, welcome back to the weekly Warp Pipe, a podcast dedicated to retro video games, 80s and 90s, toys, and all things nostalgia. Happy 4th of July weekend. Thought I'd kick things off great and pick the subject of none other, G.I. Joe, the real American hero. We're going to be talking about the toys, the cartoon, the cereal, and just all the good memories with G.I. Joe growing up in the 80s and 90s. So dive into the Warp Pipe with us and let's go back and check out some awesome G.I. Joe memories. Let's get into the episode. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the weekly Warp Pipe. I'm your host, RussLyman, and with me...
What's up, guys? It's Jay from NES Addict.
Should we start the podcast differently, or is that like...
I don't know.
Let us know. How do you think we should start the podcast? Figure to keep it consistent. Hey, if you guys like us on here, check us out on the YouTubes or TikTok. We're on other social media platforms. You can check me out on YouTube, RussLyman, or Bit by Bit. And if you like food stuff, I do food reviews on Snacky Snack Time. Where can we check you out, Jay?
NES Addict on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Right. Yeah, RussLyman for me on Instagram and TikTok as well. You can find us doing cool content on there. 4th of July weekend, we figured we'd talk about G.I. Joe, the real American hero. G.I. Joe was there.
That's right. No better for the 4th of July than the Yo Joes.
That's for sure. Yeah, definitely grew up getting Joe action figures, eating the cereal, watching the cartoon, seeing the movie, the whole nine.
That's right. Which one are we jumping into first?
I mean, we could briefly talk about the cereal. If you guys heard last week's episode, we were all talking about cereal and stuff, and we briefly mentioned this, but the G.I. Joe cereal came out in 1985 by Ralston. Right there. They definitely were a pioneer in putting out themed cereals.
That's right. And with G.I. Joe, it was the G.I. Joe Action Stars.
Yeah, what do they kind of look like? What would you describe them?
Like
Cheerios or
like either Cheerios or like Lucky Charm-esque shaped stars.
Gotcha. Yeah. And the box itself, you could get 3 variants on the box with Duke, Gung Ho, and Shipwreck.
Pretty good selection there.
Where's no lady? They couldn't have the Baroness up there, or Scarlet, or
Lady J. Poor females, underrepresented.
I guess they were getting the Rainbow Bright cereal, and they figured they go towards the boys.
No Jinx. Yeah, I know. Yeah, pretty good. I don't remember ever having this cereal. And I think it would have done better if they would have thrown some marshmallows in for our sugar-loving 80s childhood obsession.
Right. You gotta have the marshmallows to have that sweetness to attract towards the younger generation who's eating cereals. Maybe this is more adult-oriented cereal. They should have chose like a Chex type mix in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have a few different prizes here that they show off.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like some comic books. I
Yeah,
wonder if they ever...
I'm going to say, it could include a G.I. Joe in there?
That I don't know if they ever did, but that would have been obviously the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess they would have missed the ball.
Because who needs marshmallows when there's a free G.I. Joe inside?
Right, you wouldn't care what the cereal tasted like, as long as you're getting a new G.I. Joe.
You could open it, it would be empty, and you'd still be happy.
Yeah. But you probably grabbed this cereal, poured yourself a bowl, and sat down to watch the cartoon series.
That's right. The cartoon series was, I mean, it is one of the 2 or 3 most prolific like cartoon series I remember from the early 80s. It was that, it was He-Man,
mm-hmm.
and it was Transformers for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Those stand out to be, whenever I put on cartoons, probably one of those we're playing.
And it had such a epic intro.
Oh, yeah. That I was singing a theme song that you want to sing, and it's easy to remember.
Like once that was over, you're ready to like go kick some Cobra butt.
Right. It pumped you up to see what's going on with the episode itself.
Exactly.
Like, right, it's fun song. Let's get into it. And this was that.
I was going to tell you a fun fact real quick on YouTube.
Okay.
They have these cartoons on constant replay
At Hasbro's YouTube page.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's live streaming, so you can jump in there and chat with other G.I. Joe fans and catch all the episodes. It came out in 1983 and ran till 86, so there's a total of 95 episodes you can catch.
Nice. About 31 to 32 episodes a year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely got you excited. See what would happen next in the long run of the fight against Cobra.
That's right. Did you have some favorite action figures that you like to bust out while you're watching your show?
I don't know if I ever played with them while watching the show. I was so focused, watching the show. I don't think I brought the Joes with me to watch with me. I'd play with them outside in the tub.
Later on,
they
would have their adventures.
Yeah, but I definitely remember watching it either Saturday mornings or maybe when I got out of school and I was sitting around. But it definitely was how do I say it? Like, I don't know, it just got you pumped to see each episode, because it's such a long story. It's not like because
it kind of builds off each other, right?
Right.
Like, it kind of leaves you with a cliffhanger, and there's like this guy with like this really gripping voice, and he's like, "Find out what happens next week when G.I. Joe takes on Cobra," for whatever's happening in that episode.
Right. Another fun fact was, they always left you with a tip, a life lesson, if you will.
Dude, I still use that slogan to this day. I always say, "And knowing's half the battle."
Yo, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, like, those were great, though. Like, I legitimately learned stuff from that.
And they said that, I'm trying to, because I watched the Toys That Make Us. I want to say it was either that or like one of those shows where they talked about the series, and they said how they had to almost basically, it's like you're watching the show and it's also like an advertisement to go get the toys and this and that, and to get around some legal aspect, they like added these like safety tips or whatever at the end of the video, so it's like a PSA to make it more
educational,
or yeah.
That's hilarious. It's funny too. Another thing that's interesting about that show, out of all those lasers that are fired, no one ever died.
Well, it would be like the robots, like in Cobra, like you would see them
the what they call the bats,
right?
Yeah, the bats might explode, but everybody else makes it.
Also, I thought it was great that Sergeant Slaughter, I don't know which way, like he came on to the cartoon, but he was also a wrestler in WWF back then.
Do you remember when that happened?
No, like,
because
so he was a wrestler first. I honestly can't remember if he was.
Yeah, he was a wrestler first, and then they brought him onto the show. But that was a huge deal when he became a G.I. Joe.
David Apuzzo, I'm sure, would know a ton of this if we.
Oh yeah, dude. I just remember that being. I was like, oh my gosh, Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah, he was so freaking rad. And
I mean, it fits right in. They're like, why not? Like, bring him in with the Joe. He's a sergeant. Like, he's already a known property amongst the WWF fans.
Dude, it worked really well.
Yeah, he fit right in there. So that was sweet.
Yeah, that was a fun storyline when they brought in Sergeant Slaughter. I was a big fan of the Dreadnoughts too. Those guys were cool. They had like this like rat-a-tat Cajun-esque group of punks that did Cobra's bidding.
Right. I still have back there their vehicle that they released. It's like blue and maroon and had like turret guns on it, and they can like stand on the side of it, and it's like a cage around it or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like, and it has like two big guns on the front.
Yeah, it's right there. Here, let me grab it.
I had that as a kid. I would love to see it again. Yeah, that thing was awesome. And I also had the motorcycle that it was like purple and green, and it had like a gunner seat at the top, and it had like some rockets on the side, but it was like they had this cool motorcycle. And then the other thing they had was like this boat that was green, and it was like a swamp type boat. Yeah, I had that as a kid. I remember having that. I'm so jealous.
I have the figure in there. What's funny, I had showed this off. I did a while back on the RussLyman YouTube channel, like a top 3 Tuesday GI Joes, and I mentioned, how I had this vehicle, but it was actually missing some parts. And one of the viewers was like, "Hey, I have some of those parts," and he sent it out to me to kind of complete the ride.
Yeah, I need to get that again because that was one I had as a kid. And I remember getting it for Christmas of like 85 or 86, probably 86. But yeah, I had that. It was great. Do you know who knows a ton? I got to mention him. You know who knows so much about G.I. Joe?
Tell me.
Retro Reminiscence.
Okay.
He knows more about G.I. Joe than anybody I've ever. I mean, he knows. And he has an amazing collection. He's never shown it on his YouTube channel. Don't ask me why, but it's unbelievable.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't see him that often at like these conventions that we go to. I mean, they are video game based, but people have toys and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I got really lucky a couple of years ago and went to this thrift store that's near me, and there were 2 huge bags of them. And when I saw them, I couldn't believe it because they were like originals. They wanted like $7 a piece, and I was like, all right, taking these. So now I have a sizable collection. But there was a time in it was probably like 2006, 2007. I was really big into Transformers. I was collecting Transformers, and I was collecting Ninja Turtles Menton card, which I have none of anymore. But this guy was like, hey man, he's like, I've got a ton of G.I. Joes if you want to like start collecting those. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't have much money as it is, and I'm already buying Transformers. I need to like narrow my focus.
Right.
He was like, well, just come look at him. Dude, I went over to his house, and he had tons and tons and tons and tons of G.I. Joes. And he was like, you can take them all for $200. And I was like, I don't know, man, $200, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
He was like, just take them and pay me over time. And
wow.
Didn't do it, Russ.
What? You could have given him $20 a week.
Who knows if he still has them, but he had a gold mine of G.I. Joes.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds all. I will say growing up, so on the weekends I would go stay with my dad, and he lived with my cousins, and they had a ton of G.I. Joes, and they kind of wouldn't let me play with them. I would see them playing with them, but I only got to watch them. They wouldn't let me touch their toys. So my dad would take me out. I remember going to like Bradley's or Caldor and picking out, maybe I could get one Joe a week, and just seeing the packaging, reading the back, like they had the profile on the back of the card. That profile was
amazing.
And that was so cool. That gave you more detail on that character. And you're like, all right, do I want to get, this one here? I definitely gravitated towards like the ninja ones, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes. They had a few other ninja ones that I don't remember from the cartoon series, but they had swords and stuff, so I picked those up as well. But some of the vehicles that I had gotten, so I had this one here, and I remember I had a snow one. It was all white, and it was kind of angled with some skis, and it had like missiles.
It have red rockets that kind of came up like this? Yes. I had that too. I think it's called the Ice Wolf or Snow Wolf or something like that.
So I Ice Viper. That. Nice. I mean, all those sound great. What else did I had? I had like a tiny like hover boat type vehicle.
Like a was it blue and burgundy?
No, I think it was just all green, and it had like fans on the bottom of it.
Okay.
So I had that one, and I remember a tank that would like build a bridge, like the top half of the tank would like fold over or something.
Was it electronic?
Maybe.
Like it did it on its own, maybe?
Possibly.
I feel like there was one that did that, but I could be prefabricating that.
Yeah, I had those, and I'm trying to think if I had any other like a flying one, if I had a helicopter or something. A lot of times I would use other franchise vehicles to put my Joes into and play with.
Do you remember Tiger Force?
Yeah, briefly.
So when we were in Myrtle Beach one year at my grandmother's house, my mom would go to yard sales and she'd always bring me back a little toy she found. She found the Tiger Force helicopter one time.
Nice.
So I had that. And then in Christmas of 86, man, it must have been like the year for me to get G.I. Joes because I had everything. Prior to that, in the 80s, I remember getting one G.I. Joe, or sorry, not in the 80s, it was all the 80s. But when I lived in North Carolina, which was pre me moving to South Carolina, I remember getting, oh man, what was it called? It was like this little green G.I. Joe helicopter, and it had like a little cage on the top with like two little jets on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of that one was, but I had that. I had that same Dreadnoughts vehicle you have. I had their cycle that they have with like a red gun on the top. It was like a green. It was like green. I can't remember the color scheme exactly, but it was like, I mean, I was mentioning it earlier while you were picking that one up. And I had the Cobra Bug, which was like this tank that was like aquatic.
Yes.
And it had two little hatches on the side where little jet skis came out, and like it had like this big bubble piece that could come off and go underwater. My buddy for Christmas got the Rolling Thunder one year. Well, when he got the Rolling Thunder, he brought it home, and I don't know if it was like an error when they packaged it, but it had none of the accessories. So they went back to Walmart, and the people at Walmart just gave them another one for free and didn't make them return the other one.
Nice.
So one day I was at his house and I was like all about this thing. He's like, dude, you can have that one. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I have two of them. The other, he's like, so I went home and dude, I was all about it.
Nice.
And then I have one more story. The coolest thing I ever found at a yard sale when I was a kid was the Terradrome. Is it Terradrome or Terradome? It was like this humongous Cobra base. And anyway, this lady was like getting rid of all this G.I. Joe stuff for like $10. And that was part of it. And it's like a $200-$300 item now.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Some of those bigger items. I would say the ones that were elusive, I never had, but my cousins did have the aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah.
Which
the flag.
Was massive. This thing was 4 or 5 feet long.
It was humongous. I saw it at a yard sale once and my mom went and bought it for me because of the size.
Right. You got to have a big room to put that in. That one. And then the Space Shuttle.
Oh yeah. That thing was cool too.
So when I worked at Retro Games Plus for many years and we were taking in action figures, someone traded in the Space Shuttle. And I put it together and it had like, it laid flat and then you had like a crank or something. So it would go into like launch mode.
That's sick.
And I was like, I never got to play with this when I was little.
How much were they selling it for? Do you remember?
I don't even remember what we priced it for. It had to be like, $400 or $500, I bet.
Yeah. I was in Ohio a few years ago at a game/toy store and they had the flag there and it was like $500-$600. And I was like, I bet it's worth more than that now.
Oh yeah, and if it's in the box, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, the USS flag. Oh, what a cool piece! But yeah, I had the Ice Viper also, like you had, and it had like a ninja with a red mask.
Trying to remember that one, ninja with the red mask.
He was like he was like in a snowsuit, like a white snowsuit, but he had like a red mask on, like with his eyes that cut out like this.
Okay,
but he came with that vehicle.
Nice. Yeah, I remember having Storm Shadow's definitely one of my favorite. It was like the second release where he's like white and gray spots kind of like around his outfit, because the original Storm Shadow was just all white. And I definitely had a bunch of the ninjas I went more towards. There was one that's bright orange and blue camo and he had like a shield.
The Alley Viper.
Yes.
He is one of the, I had him too. He was very popular.
I have him still. And I've been trying to get, they just did a re-release. I can reach over here. I'm going to grab one more item here.
Yeah. I wish I had my Joes out to show. The other thing I'll talk about while Russ is walking away is they had 2 really good G.I. Joe video games for the NES.
Yes. We'll dive into that. I'll show this off. But they're doing a new series, classified series. And I never had this growing up. So I got the Bat.
Yeah, the Bat. He's cool.
They're a little bit bigger than the regular Joes, but I wanted to get him and then the Viper one, but I can't find the Viper.
So they made the Alley Viper.
Yeah, I just checked Target, every day.
Man.
David Apuzzo ended up finding this one for me, so he got me this.
All right, Russ, I'll be on the look.
We didn't mention, but so the regular figures were 3.75-inch figures. and they ran until 94. The original line back in 1964 was a 12-inch figure. And then they downsized it and it kind of really took off because that was the same size as like Star Wars figures and all those other figures. So and this one here is a little bit taller. I imagine this is like maybe it's a 10-inch. I don't think it says on it.
Those were so great though, because you could shove them in your pocket. I remember playing with them like at church and stuff.
I played with them in the tub. I bring them in the tub with me.
Yeah, dude, it was amazing.
I would set them up in my yard and shoot them down with the Ninja Turtle pizza thrower.
Yes, the pizza thrower was amazing. That'll be for another day though. But I also had this like little swamp vehicle that was a Dreadnought vehicle. It was like green and it was supposed to change colors in the sun, I thought.
Can't say I remember that one.
But I remember one time we had a ditch that kind of went around the edge of our house and the water would flow kind of down the ditch. And one time I like put that little boat in and let it like ride down. It looks so sick.
And that's what's so fun. Like you playing with your G.I. Joes outside, it made sense because that's where they're fighting the wars and stuff. So I'd have them climb up in trees. And if the grass was tall, because we didn't mow it, it made sense to put your figures in there.
Yeah, it was cool to like hang them from like ropes and stuff too. Like they could like swing around.
Yeah, I would use a bunch of strings, or get my helicopter and have a string dangling so I can swing them around.
Maybe like a paper clip as like a grappling hook or something,
Yep. Nice.
I was always really into the Cobra figures. Like, do you remember Crocmaster?
No, I don't think. Well, you know what? I bet you I had. Oh, wait. Okay. All black head, red eyes, tank top.
Yep. Like crocodile skin boots.
Yes.
And he came with a crocodile. It was so sick.
I bet you I probably have on my Joser on the other side of the room. I don't want to keep leaving, but
he was one of my favorites. And then another one named Big Boa. He had like boxing gloves and like a little boxing thing that said Joe on it. But he had this like cool mouthpiece thing. It was almost like he almost looked like Bane in a way.
That sounds dope. It also sparked my memory. You know what else they came out with that were official? They had Mortal Kombat G.I. Joe figures.
They did. That's right. That's crazy.
So you could get Scorpion, Raiden, Sub-Zero,
Blanca.
That's Street Fighter, man.
Oh, you're right. They had those too, though.
But they did have Street Fighter G.I. Joes as well. So like, what is this? Like, what combining video games with the G.I. Joes? Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because I remember I have a Scorpion, but he didn't have his spear, so I made one with string and like paper clip, like you said.
That's sick.
And yeah, that's mixed in. So I definitely love to get some more of those. That was freaking awesome. But let's chat about. So they had 2 games on the NES: G.I. Joe Real American Hero and G.I. Joe The Atlantis Factor.
Yes, I beat Real American Hero a couple of years ago. I think they have a save state on it where you can like a little save feature. But that game was a lot of freaking fun. Atlantis Factor I haven't gotten into yet, but someday. But yeah, they're really, really well done. Fun games. The characters straight out of the game. Both the G.I. Joes and the Cobra characters. All the boss battles are like actual vehicles from the cartoon series and like ones you could buy at the store. Right. So they remain very true to the line.
Yeah, and it gets you pumped up. You're going to play the game and you're like, oh, I want this action figure. Now you want to go to the store and purchase the figure or the vehicle. Yeah. And then you see them in the TV show and you're like, that was in the level that we got to and whatever.
Yeah, they did a really good job of keeping it all cohesive and everything was the same.
Right. Definitely a good time. I will say they did release a new G.I. Joe game that's out on like PS4, Xbox One, and Switch that I had picked up.
Is it based off the recent movies or the old school?
It's old school. So you get like, Duke and all the old, like it's kind of like art style towards that. I honestly couldn't get into it though, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot more fun, but I don't know. I didn't like it.
No fun, huh?
What was fun? You remember the G.I. Joe arcade game?
No.
It's like
right now. I don't.
It's almost like. Do you remember? What the heck is that game? I have the picture on my wall over here. Space Harrier. Remember Space Harrier?
Yes.
Where you're like kind of on that 3D aspect playing and running. It's like a shooter, but you're instead of a spaceship, you're a person. So you're like a G.I. Joe constantly running up the screen, and you have like Cobras coming down at you, and you're just like going left to right and shooting.
Wow. I'm looking at it here on the internet, and it looks freaking awesome.
It came up. I forgot what I had it on. I think I had it on my modded SNES Classic with arcade games, and I was like, you know what? I haven't played this in forever, and it's really fun. It's super fun. Arcade you want to feed quarters into to get further, but it was super fun.
Yeah, no, that's something that you remember that I don't have any memory of. Yeah, that's funny.
There's that, and there was I do remember there was an Atari 2600 G.I. Joe game. I remember I have that.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
It has like a Cobra like on the screen. I can remember that, and I'm trying to remember what else. You're obviously a box figure that's a G.I. Joe, and I think you're shooting up at the Cobra. I can't remember the gameplay that much, but I know it came out on Atari 2600.
That's crazy. I found a picture of that vehicle I was poorly describing earlier.
Okay,
it's called the Skyhawk.
Okay,
that was the very first G.I. Joe vehicle I ever had in probably like 1985.
Nice. Yeah, they're definitely fun. A lot of times, I said, when I worked at the game store, the vehicles would come through, but they take up so much space. A lot of times we couldn't take everything in. We weren't sure if we were going to sell them, because even if you want to display those, it's harder to display those than a regular Joe. You got this whole vehicle that's taken up so much room. That's
a good one to have, though.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I sent you some pictures not too long ago. I was at what was the store? Home Goods.
Yes,
and they had these weird, like, what are they? Lego?
It was like knockoff Legos.
It was knockoff Legos, but it was of retro G.I. Joe vehicles. They had the what's the black Cobra like tank? They had that one. The Hiss. They had that, and I think they had the snowmobile. I want to say too that we were talking about vehicle.
Yeah. My son and I put one of those together. It was the little single person helicopter that you always saw like Cobra Commander flying away in when he was like escaping.
Yeah. Didn't they have the retro ones? I want to say that you could hook a Joe up to, and you had a string that you pulled and it would shoot off.
So I remember they had like these, it was like a Sky series. They had these little, you could put your G.I. Joes on these like little gliders that would actually fly. Oh, like on a zip line? No, like a glider, like it had like wings, and like the commercials were so awesome because it made it look like you were just flying them all over the place. Who knows how well they actually worked? I can't remember exactly what it's called. Let me see if Google can help me real fast.
Yeah, I mean, some of the vehicles you're like, these are awesome. Come on, Mom, can I get another vehicle? But again, like most of these I'd get like if my birthday, like probably vehicles cost more. The G.I. Joes, maybe are like $8 or something. So you can get those maybe once a week.
I don't know if you can see that.
I could kind of see it.
But it was like these sweet little gliders, and like they kind of looked like that, and you could put them on it, and they would actually supposedly fly.
Okay.
Yeah, you see it?
Yeah. Okay. I could see that working.
So I remember those commercials really making me want to like get one of those. They looked so sick.
Yeah, I can't find the thing that I was talking about, but I felt like it just clipped, like it had enough to where it clipped around the Joe's waist, and he just had like two things he would hold and then zip them.
Like this?
Yeah, I remember that. I'm pretty sure I remember that one there. And you would set up lines around your house and have it zipping around.
That sounds so fun, right?
So I said you could take the battle anywhere. You're going outside with these, maybe take a few in the bathtub. You got a water battle going on with a couple of the vehicles in there.
Yeah.
Play in the snow time, bring them out there.
Yep.
Definitely.
Oh, you know what's funny? I remember, now that you just triggered a memory I didn't have or I couldn't remember. I remember taking that ice viper out in the snow one time.
Nice.
Yeah, and being slightly disappointed that it didn't slide as good as I thought it would.
Maybe get the hose out there to freeze it off some more.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, that was a lot of the fun was using different elements, because one of the things that the commercials did really well was setting the scene for like where they would be fighting,
right? How
like
you could play with these toys, or where
if it was
where
like in the desert, you always saw like sand. They always had like the coolest setups.
Yeah, like dioramas made for
the commercial, just for the commercial.
But it made sense. You can make your own so easily. Like you go outside and find a hill with some dirt and dig into it with a little shovel or something. You got a Cobra base or a trench, put your Joes in. They do have, I've seen Target now, you can get these reaction figures, which are mimicking kind of the older Joes in the blister pack there. A little bit smaller, I'd say the packaging is. The only gripe I have with them, they're like $18.
Wow. I think they re-released the 3.5 inch figures.
I think they're the same size, possibly. But I'm like, I'd rather spend like this one here. I think I spent $18 on or so. And he's like almost a 12-inch figure and comes with all these accessories.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're going to want me to find the Alley Viper, because I loved Alley Viper.
Yeah, I still have mine. I think on my top 3 list, it was Alley Viper, Storm Shadow, and who else did I put on there? Shoot, I don't know. I remember I had this guy that came with a scorpion, and he had like red goggles and like a like he was a desert like Cobra person. He stood out. I
had Quick Kick as a kid.
Was he the karate guy?
Karate guy, yeah, looked kind of like
he was shirtless.
Yep, had some Chinese stars on his chest, ready to throw them at you.
Nice. Yeah,
I had him, and I had the twins.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep.
The twins were cool.
Growing up, I would say I never had Destro or Cobra Commander.
Me either.
I don't think I even had Duke.
So
some of the main characters I ended up not get, maybe because I got into them later in the series when they came out, so they weren't at like Kmart when I went.
I had Sneak Peek and Chuckles, and this guy that had Survivor written on his shirt with like red hair, looked kind of like Chuck Norris.
They probably had a Chuck Norris G.I. Joe too.
They had a Chuck Norris toy line.
They did.
But yeah, I had a ton of them, man. I loved them. I love G.I. Joes.
Yeah, I said there's just something about them, and I would see them at those big box stores, just going through the aisles, and like, they're up on that pegboard or whatever, and you're flipping through. Which ones do they have? Do they have a new one that I haven't seen like since last week? Did they get a new shipment in?
I remember the last G.I. Joe I ever bought.
Really?
Yeah. So it was when that Ninja line came out. I was friends with these kids that were younger than me, and so they were still playing with stuff, and they were getting them. And I remember I had to have one of them. I was like, I just need one. And I chose the red one, and his name was either Slice or Dice. I can't remember.
Had to be.
But they all had like one like action feature, like their arm would chop, or their leg would kick, or yeah, I can't remember if he was a Joe or a Cobra, but it was. Do you remember the Ninja Force? That's what it was from, the Ninja Force line.
I don't know, because I do have a couple. I have a ninja that's yellow and blue that I can picture, and he has like a big bandana. I want to say one was like all purple, because I definitely enjoyed the ninja line for sure.
So apparently it was Slice that I had, because he was the red one.
Nice.
With almost like a sword, like a sword sparring kind of mask, like mesh mask.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like fencing.
Yeah, fencing. That's what I was looking for.
Sword sparring.
So yeah, Slice.
Nice. Slice and Dice.
Slice and Dice.
Those people could have been on American Gladiators as well.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, G.I. Joe was just so big back in the 80s. And, I still, luckily, I will say I probably have 20 of my Joes, I think, hanging in a box. It's funny enough, it's in it lived forever in an old cigar box. Because my grandfather smoked cigars, and then, you would have this cardboard box with a lid that would flip open. So my mom must have gave it to me. So I have that in there with just all the accessories thrown in.
That's awesome. You have your originals. See, one day I went to school, and I came home, and my mom was like, "Hey, I sold all your toys."
Jeez.
And then I grabbed a knife and I stabbed her. I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. But she did sell all my toys.
Did you
and I'm still upset about it to this day.
You get a bad grade in school and she did it? Or
no, I think she just thought.
You're done.
She, it's probably one of those things where like these are taking up space. You're like 13 or 14 at this point. Like, you don't need this crap.
Man. So I guess I was lucky. Mama Lyman said, you could keep it.
Yeah, my mom's cold-hearted.
But now you can rebuy them on eBay.
Exactly, for 1,000 times the price we paid in the 80s. Thanks, Mom.
Nice. Well, hope you guys enjoyed taking the warp pipe back in time, talking about G.I. Joe's, the real American hero.
That's right.
If you guys want to check us out, again, we're on different social media platforms. We'll be linking in the description. Search RussLyman for me, Bit by Bit. And if you want to check Jay out, NES Addict.
That's right.
Sweet. Well, it's been fun chatting with you. As always, I'm RussLyman, and keep your world fun bit by bit.
That's right. Just remember, knowing is half the battle.
That's right. We got to end it like that.
Exactly.
Wish we had a fun fact we could tell kids.
A PSA. Kids, don't play in the road.
That's right. Or you'll get hit by a car.
That's right. The more you know. I mean, not the more you know. Knowing's half the battle.
Knowing's half the battle. Yo, Joe!